everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Erin Raese, with Head of Marketing at Spins, and I'm here today with Brian Allen, Head of Sales at Hex Performance. Welcome, Brian.
Hi, Erin. Glad to be here.
So let's get started and talk about your background and how you've ended up with Hex. And from there, we'll talk about Hex and the business.
Awesome. So I've been in the CPG industry for more years than I care to share, but 20 plus years. I've kind of migrated from big company where I got a lot of my background experience, Johnson & Johnson, PepsiCo, Anheuser-Busch. And then in the early 2000s, this national organic sort of trend intrigued me. And I moved over into that side of the business, and I worked for White Wave Foods for about 10 years. In various roles. I ran our Walmart business for a while. Then they moved me from Northwest Arkansas. I'm from Southern California, so that was quite a move from Southern California to Northwest Arkansas. But I've been in Colorado now for the last 12 years or so, and that's where White Wave is based. This natural foods trend obviously has taken hold for the last 25 years or so, and it was a great ride with White Wave. And then it ended up being purchased by Danone. And then I had a chance to really sit back in my career and say, all right, what do I really want? And I really wanted to kind of start something new, work for a smaller company, and really build it from the ground up. So I ran sales for a company called Made in Nature for a couple of years, where it was a small organic snack company, which was a blast. And then a friend of mine who I'd worked with at White Wave had took over the CEO position at Hex Performance and encouraged me to take a look. And once I saw the product that Hex Performance had, I was amazed and sold right off the bat. Because our product, our technology is different than anything within the laundry space today. So end of last year, I made the move and came over to Hex Performance. We're a small team. There's only 5 of us. Our founder is a guy named Drew Westervelt, and Drew's a great guy, very entrepreneurial. Drew was a professional lacrosse player, was his background. And while he was playing lacrosse, he realized there was an issue that was happening. Lacrosse being a very secondary B type professional sport. They played on the indoor game on synthetic turf, AstroTurf, and there was a pretty major issue with the athletes falling, skinning their elbows, and getting nasty bacterial infections like staph infections and MRSA. And Drew thought there's got to be a better way. The stuff that they were using would kill it, but then there was no assurance that they killed it. There's no assurance that there was any protection left on the synthetic turf. So he went and developed a product with clean biodegradable materials that not only would clean the synthetic turf, but also would leave a protective coating on the turf so the bacteria could not grow back. So that's how he started his business. And then over time, he realized there's not a huge market for selling, cleaning, and protecting agents for synthetic turf. He realized that his gear he was wearing, his Under Armour jersey, his Nike shorts, were made out of the same materials as synthetic turf. So he morphed it into a laundry company. And so doesn't have experience within consumer products. So he needed some experience and professionals to come kind of help him launch his brand. And that's when he pulled our CEO in, that's when he pulled me in, and some of the other folks that we have with the company. So that's kind of how it got started and how I came over.
That's great. So you said you came over in December. So is the detergent business new for Hex, or?
No, so Drew launched in detergents probably 3 years ago. He came out with a very unique, different package. Some of the marketing companies that we work with now said that if that package could have a beard, it would. It was very male focused. I think on the label it said anti-stink detergent. People don't want to know that they stink.
Right.
So, and men typically don't buy detergent. So it was really focused on males. So when we came in, we looked at the category and we moved. He was way on the end of the spectrum of being different and unique within detergent, which is great at some point. He was probably too early in thinking about that. So we kind of moved it back to the middle. Our packaging is much more in line with what's in the category right now. Some of the claims that we make on package are not, we talk about stink, but not in a really in your face sort of way. So we've kind of brought it back to the middle to position it well within the detergent category.
It's great. As a mother of a boy who played every sport growing up, it's been looking for this kind of detergent for years. So
yeah. Well, it's detergent. We also have a line. We also have sprays. So imagine a hockey bag, a lacrosse bag, football gear, where you can spray our formulation onto that. Our product's different than most products. When you think about the detergent category, it really hasn't been disrupted ever. You look across any type of store, just about every category has been disrupted somehow with the organic and natural food trends that happened for the last 20 years. Look at carbonated soft drinks, and now with impact of energy drinks and the different iced teas. Look at Swiffer in the cleaning space years ago. If you look at the detergent aisle, there's not a lot of new stuff there. Tide has been around forever and they dominate the category. However, today's clothing has significantly changed. So, rewind 20, 25 years, everything was made with natural materials, cottons and wools and those types of fabrics. Today, just about everything has some sort of blend of synthetic material that, if it's not entirely synthetic material, that gives it wickability, that gives it stretchiness. So think about stretchy jeans that has synthetics in them. But detergents haven't kept up in order to be able to effectively clean these synthetic surfaces. Think about cleaning your home. You wouldn't put wood cleaner on your refrigerator to clean it. You wouldn't put flooring cleaner to clean your granite countertops. Why are we using the same detergent to clean all different types of materials in our washing machine?
Yeah, it's preparing to talk to you today, and talking to some of the folks on my team. Somebody said, "Oh, well, when my clothes get too smelly, I just throw them away," and because they didn't know that there was an option.
That absolutely is,
way to clean it.
And that's one of the things that we talk to retailers and consumers about. It's like you shouldn't buy a Lululemon shirt or pants, wear it for 6 months or a year, and have to throw it away. You spent $150, maybe more, dollars on that piece of that garment. Why would you have to throw it away? The issue is that today's traditional detergents, they cover up the scent with fragrance. Our product actually destroys the bacteria that causes the smell. We've done all kinds of testing that shows. We actually did some testing where the clean test today for detergents is, I pull it out of the wash and does it smell clean? Well, yeah, it's going to smell clean because it's loaded up with different types of fragrances. We actually imparted bacteria, E. coli, actually onto clothing, washed, and then tested, before when the E. coli went in, and then how much of the E. coli was removed on garments, different types of garments, after the wash, and Hex significantly reduced the E. coli almost 100% in the washes, where traditional detergents that we tested against either didn't get it all or barely any of it out of the garments, or in some cases it actually grew because some bacteria feeds off of those types of laundry detergents. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Thank you for all of that. So you had some time, you said, in startups, but is this one earlier than your previous, and how do you see the differences, and how does that affect you, the opportunity that you see for yourself as well as the business?
Yeah, this one's much earlier than other early companies that I've been in. We went through a round of funding. We closed it earlier this year, so that was the first time I've been through really a funding round. So, talking to the investors and sharing with them what our plans were. We have to be very smart about the investments that we make, right? So our investors trust us to make the right investments in the business, and we want to be able to show them that we're using their money in the right way. So, we're lean, and we're as smart as we can be with the investments that we make.
Yeah. It's a whole new way of looking at things, I suspect, to be a bit more prudent, and how do you stretch the dollar from a marketing and a sales perspective?
Absolutely. And, there's some cases where I go to a retailer and they're asking for, big number from a sliding perspective and they're not budging. And in some cases we need to walk away. And, that's decisions that we need to make. And honestly, and we're probably getting to this place, but, a lot of our strategy and, strategic planning of our business, Spins has really helped us get to a great place relative to that. One simple example is, where should we fish from a detergent laundry category perspective? And through working with Spins, we found out that, and this is a crazy number, 60% of laundry purchases, detergent purchases in the US are done in the mass class of trade, 60%. So if we're not, going hard after Target, going hard after Walmart, going hard after Meijer, that channel is really important for this category.
It's interesting. Well, I'm glad Spins was able to help.
Yeah.
And so with that, you received Spins data as well as you worked with our consulting group, right?
Yeah. So our relationship with Spins. So I've worked with Spins in the past, and the progression of Spins has been fantastic. From early on, we worked with them just for the national channel, and now it's morphed into really it's a one-stop shop. My last company, actually, we discontinued our contract with Nielsen, and we got all of our information from Spins. So early on in my time here, we went to Spins, and we knew that Spins has an opportunity for smaller companies where maybe the data isn't that robust, but it's enough for us to sort of get started on understanding what's happening within our categories across the US. So we were able to work out an arrangement, a partnership with Spins, so that it wasn't breaking our bank, while at the same time we were getting the data needs that in this stage of our life cycle as a company, they were it's enough data that we needed for us to make the decisions that we needed to make.
Terrific. Great. Well, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating when you're talking about your category and these folks that have been there or these brands that have been there for forever, and how do you break through the clutter? I've spent time in my past in customer loyalty, and one of the things that we debate a lot is habit versus emotion. And I think a lot of times, maybe toothpaste and laundry detergent fall into a habitual purchase. So how do you, and I think just the conversation we've had so far, you certainly are hitting like emotional things with me, like, okay, the frustration of the smell or throwing away my clothes or those kinds of things is a whole different way to be thinking about this. How are you incorporating that into some of the things you guys are doing?
Yeah, that is, massively important. So this category is it's a massive category, $9 billion category. It's growing pretty slowly in the low single digits. With COVID, that jumped up substantially in sort of the March, April timeframe. And it's dominated by 80% of the category is done by 5 players. So we're up against the biggest of the big. So it's been challenging to really break through. So the first thing was our packaging. We needed to change our packaging. When working with Spins, we needed to uncover some nuggets of information that allowed us to stand apart. And my thought was, we got to be able to create an incrementality story with the retailer so that they view us as meaningful for their business. So we work with Spins. We did a bunch of data, looked at a bunch of data. They helped us put together a sales deck. When I look at any business, it's like, you got to be able to tell a fantastic story. And we didn't have a great story. We had some science, and we had some chemistry, and we had Drew about how we started it, but it didn't really flow together. So we went to Spins and we said, hey, help us put together, a great story. And I think it needs to include something around, I know it needs to include incrementality, because we can't go to retailers and say, hey, I'm going to go steal a share away from Tide, because A, it's probably not likely. And B, why is that good for the retailer? It's not good for the retailer. We're just trading them from one purchase to the other. So not only did we help Spins help us with a category story, they also helped us. We partnered with Spins. Well, we did an ANU study with Spins also. So they talked to 300 or so consumers and just talked about this category, showed them Hex, shared with them, what's different about it. And what we found was 63% of those consumers said that they would buy Hex incrementally to their typical laundry purchase, 63%. So if you looked across the entire US and you said every household in the US, and I know this is a stretch, but go with me here for a second. If every household in the US bought one bottle of Hex incrementally, it's a $500 million market opportunity over the course of the year, which is massive. So that 63% number is huge. And we got that directly from Spins, from the ANU study. We also validated that. So we have one grocery partner that we've been with for the longest, who's based in the Northeast, and they share a ton of data with us, loyalty data, shopper card data, that sort of thing. And we were validated, that number was validated by this shopper card data that we got from this retailer in the Northeast. So that was the biggest nugget that we were able to pull away from this ANU study. But first, we validated the fact that people thought our brand was interesting and that their purchase intent was really high, 8 or 9 out of 10. But the fact that we can take a story to the retailer and say, hey, consumers are looking for something different and unique for their activewear. And we have a solution for them. Not only are they going to buy us, but they're also going to buy us incrementally to what they're already buying for their laundry room today.
It's great. And how did that resonate with the retailer or retailers?
It's been fantastic. I mean, because we can say, when we talk to consumers, this is what you said, but then we validate it back with information that we have from a retailer. So why would somebody bring us in? Yeah, we're unique. Yeah, we have a tough road to hoe. Relative to educating consumers about the differentiation of our product. A lot of consumers don't even realize, like you mentioned before, like I wear activewear, it smells after a while, I throw it away. There's a lot of education that we have to do because people don't think about, I throw my clothes in the laundry, they get clean, I pull them out and they don't think about what's really going on within the wash cycle.
Yeah. Although I think it'll resonate quick because as soon as you start talking about it, the light bulbs go off in our heads.
Absolutely. It's funny, when I get in front of retailers and we start telling the story, within 5 minutes, the light goes off and you can literally see it on their face. They're like, oh, I never thought about that before. And the same thing happens with consumers. You don't get a lot of time being able to, we're working with an agency right now. How do we quickly, within 5 seconds, get this message across to consumers? And we're in the midst of doing that right now without making it be gross or around stink or what have you, right?
Well, it tells the story. That's for sure. Well, this is fascinating. So when you look at 2020, are you guys on track for the things that you wanted to accomplish? We're halfway through the year. Are things going better than expected?
It's going better than it's been interesting with this whole COVID and not being able to get out in front of retailers. My success rate in being able to convince retailers to try Hex and bring it into distribution is pretty high once you get in front of the retailer and tell the story. But in not being able to go on appointments has been a little challenging. But we're well on track, actually above track. We focused a lot on our business today is split about 50-50, 50% e-commerce, 50% traditional retail, which is interesting. And in today's environment with what's going on, there's a massive shift to e-commerce. So that's actually benefited us, but we're actually ahead of where we need to be for the year. And we were looking at another round of investing probably mid next year. We may pull that up to earlier to end of this year so that we can support some of the new distribution that we've already gotten and that we plan on getting later this year.
Terrific. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
It's great. Well, if you have 2 more minutes, we like to do one final question at the end of our interviews. It's kind of just a pay it forward question.
Yeah.
If you've obviously been in the space a long time, you've worked for big companies and small companies. Anything today that you wish you would have known then that could potentially help some of our other emerging brand organizations?
Yeah, I think it's important to tell, I said it before, but to tell a great story, right? Everybody's passionate about their brand, passionate about their business. How can you portray that in a way that's interesting to both consumers and retailers? and have them get it really, really simply. That was one of our challenges where, we had all the data and information, but it was hard to put it in a good story. Spins help us actually really, really tell a good story. And then along with that is, how do you make sure that you have benefit to the retailer? It's been amazing. Once we've started talking about our business, about incrementality, how many times retailers have said thank you to us of, you're bringing something here for me versus the big brands coming here and it's all self-serving. All I want is more space and more distribution for their new innovation and that sort of thing. You guys are actually coming with incrementality for me that will really help out my category. So I think it's always important to have something in it for the retailer, whether it's incrementality, whether it's margin enhancement, whether it's, stealing trips from one of their competitors, that sort of thing. It's always important to have something that benefits the retailer in your story.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that piece, because I'm relatively new to this industry, and that's seems to be coming up more and more as we're talking to different people. We're all so excited about our new products and we want to talk about how wonderful they are, but it's still a typical selling engagement of how, if I'm selling to you, I need to tell you how I'm going to make you better.
Yes.
And
exactly.
I think we have a tendency to forget that. I think that's huge. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Obviously you found some really great story to tell with your incrementality. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and Spins helped us out with that. So it was a good partnership that we have. And I also say too, that Spins has been, we're small. We have 5 people in our organization right now. I don't have the luxury of having a category management department, not even a category management person. One of my early jobs was in category management, so I understand how the data works and that sort of thing. So we're really leveraging Spins right now as our category management partner. So we have, a certain number of hours every month that Spins helps us, put together decks, put together stories, pulling data for us, that sort of thing. So it's been a really good partnership for us.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're enjoying the partnership as well. The team speaks really highly of you, and we talked about they're in love with the products too. So
Good.
It's great.
Good.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you, Erin. Appreciate it.